But you guys, today we're taking a look at Windows 11 settings to change right away. Now, if you've been using Windows 10 for a period of time, then you may not be familiar with Windows 11. And Windows 11 comes with quite a bit of settings that you need to change. Now, before we continue, just a quick disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only. This video does not promote piracy and does not violate any copyright or break any community guidelines. Please do your own research and follow at your own risk. So this is the very latest version of Windows 11. It's 25H2. And again, the first thing you're going to want to do once you get all your applications installed is to disable a lot of the startup apps. You can get this in Task Manager and click on the startup apps icon. Inside here, you'll see there's a bunch of them that are all enabled. You can disable these by just double clicking on them right here, and it will allow you to disable this item. So for instance, right here, we can double click on it and it will allow us to disable it. Now, some of the bigger ones that you want to disable are Edge, because these will be running in the background, consuming quite a bit of system resources. Now, Microsoft Edge is a big system resource sucker. It will suck all your system resources, so you might want to disable that from booting up. You don't need to have this running in the background. Now, choose what you want to disable on your system, because everyone has different applications on their PC. So just run through and disable all the stuff that you don't need. The stuff you do need are things like antivirus programs and things like that to boot up on startup. That way it's protecting you when you first start the PC, but all the other stuff you don't use, you can disable it. And it's amazing how startup apps is still a thing in Windows today, because it's been around for a long time. So next, go into your settings app right here and then go into apps. Now, if you've first installed Windows 11 for the first time and you've not used it before, you're probably going to see a lot of apps already pre-installed on the operating system. And you can uninstall a lot of these if you wish. Now, the ones that you want to keep on your system, it's important that you click the three dots here and check the advanced options for background processes. These will be running in the background all the time. And it says power optimized recommended. And you can have this to never if you want to, because obviously if it's running constantly in the background, it's sucking up your system resources. And sometimes you might not want calculator running all the time. It still works when you have it set to never. You can still search for it and open it up. And you'll probably find it's going to be all of the Microsoft apps that you probably are never going to ever use. Now, of course, you can always uninstall these as well. The clock is set to power optimized recommended, but again, you can change these to whatever settings you like. And these are for your background processes on your system for the apps that you have installed. Microsoft Edge is no different. You also have on the settings panel inside Microsoft Edge, if you go in here, then come down to system and performance, it's somewhere along here. There it is just above. So click on this one right here. And when you go inside here, you will see there's a setting in here to have Edge run in the background when it's closed. So in background mode right here, click on background mode and you'll see continue running background extensions and apps when Edge is closed. We want to toggle that off because it's a major system resource hog. Same in Chrome, you can go in here and basically toggle that off. It's in the system and you can see it right there. Just toggle that off, because that will be running in the background even when your browser is closed and you're not using it, which is obviously taking up system resources. And you can check other browsers as well, whether they have those features enabled. There's other settings inside the browser, but that's out of the scope of this video. Next, it's all of this web search. When you're searching inside search box here in Windows 11, you will find it's going out and looking on the internet and showing you recommendations here. And basically, I have no need to have that inside the search box. If you do, then leave it enabled. But I tend to disable all of those features because I have no need for them. And you can either do that in Group Policy Editor if you have Windows 11 Pro and above, or if you're on Windows 11 Home, you can edit the registry at your own risk, of course, and make changes to the registry to turn those features off. So let me go into the settings here and go into search, because I want to turn a lot of search stuff off first because some people don't want to use the search, and you can do this on Pro and Home, and you'll see search history. I'm going to toggle that off here. I'm going to clear all of that. And there's a few other settings in here like Microsoft account, search my accounts. I'm going to turn that off. This is allowing Windows Search to provide results for apps and services. So I just want to turn these two off, work and school account. And again, that helps with a lot of other things that Microsoft like to collect. So we're going to turn those two off. And also what we're going to do here is we're going to go up to the very top. There's one more here, show search highlights. If you want to leave that off, it will hide the search icon completely, the search box. I'm also going to go into services here and turn off the search feature and disable it. Stop the service and then disable it like so, because if you don't want to use the search feature from Microsoft inside Windows 11, then you can turn it off like that. Some people like to leave it on and use it. Some people like to disable it. Also, you can right click and go to properties on the actual drive here, and you can disable the search index if you don't need it. And once you do this, it will take off all of the files that have been indexed, and you will have a system that is not using the Windows search feature. Once you turn off the service, that will give you back some system resources. If you're on an older computer, then doing this is essential for older systems. But if you've got a modern day computer, I don't really see much benefit in the sense of performance. But if you're not going to use it, it may cut down on the read and writes to the actual SSD on your system. So I'm just going to continue here and disable this. Again, this is an optional thing. Some people do use this feature. If you don't use it, then by all means, disable it. Now, once we do this, it's going to go ahead and apply all the attributes to our system and remove all of these index files from our system. You can still search for files, and it is still pretty quick because you do have that SSD installed. If you've got a mechanical drive, I wouldn't advise you disabling the search index because it will definitely slow things up. But on an SSD, it's not as bad. But again, some people do like that feature. Now, if you're on Windows 11 Home, then you're not going to have this feature called Group Policy Editor. And it's pretty cheap to upgrade from Windows 11 Home to Pro. And I made a video on that yesterday, how you can do that at a cheap price. And what this does is it gives you access to really good features inside Windows 11 that allows you to basically turn off a lot of stuff that you don't need. So inside the computer configuration, administrative templates, and then Windows components. Now, I've already done full in-depth videos on these types of settings, and there's also the settings files on my Discord server if you want to use those, but the choice is yours. So we're going to go into the search feature here, and there's a bunch of stuff inside here that I want to disable. Now, of course, you can do this in the registry as well, but you can see do not allow web search. And there's also some other ones in here that you might want to disable. Now, if you're on a Windows 11 Home, you will have to use the registry. And basically, the registry key there is on the screen if you want to disable that feature. But we're using the Group Policy Editor here for our settings. So what we're going to do is going to turn off a lot of this stuff here. Now, there's also Cortana as well that you're going to want to probably turn off on that system if you don't want to use the Cortana search and cloud search and all of those other things which are tied into Windows. And all you need to do for editing these, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I've covered these in depth before, but you just double click on them, enable that feature, and then disable the cloud search and all of the other features that you want to disable in this section. And you're probably best to go and watch some of those videos that I've created because they are full-length videos, about an hour long, and it shows you every single setting that you can turn off. Now, another one is inside the Windows updates and advanced options here, and notify when a restart is required to finish updating. This is important because otherwise, if you don't toggle this on, the system will just update and restart the PC. When you have all of your windows open, it can be frustrating, especially if you're working on something. It's now forcing it to notify you before it restarts. Active hours, also, you can put this to manual and set this up to whatever time you want for it to do updates. It's advisable to do this when you're asleep. If you leave your PC on, it will do it in the background while you're asleep. When you come back in the morning, everything should be updated. Now, if you set this to manual, which is what I do on my system, I basically leave it for a few weeks before I update the system anyway, because I don't always put the latest and greatest updates from Microsoft. I say greatest, they're not always the greatest, and sometimes they cause major problems, like the latest update. Next, I also go into the services here, and there's a few things inside here that are to do with telemetry and also harvesting of your data, so you might want to turn those off. I have made a full video on this, so I'm not going to basically go through the whole in-depth services tweak in this video, but you can see connected to the user experience and telemetry program, that's basically going to harvest information from your system, and there's quite a few other little things you can disable inside here, but I'm just trying to keep it to some of the most important stuff that you really want to disable on your system. You can check out some of my other videos on tweaking and setting up Windows to your liking. And there's a few other important ones you should know about, which is inside your privacy and security if you're not familiar with Windows 11, and that is the speech option. Toggle that off, and there's one called inking and typing. You definitely want to turn that off as well, because these are to do with privacy and telemetry. And again, you can see the customized directory. You can clear all of this out if you want to and remove all of this from the system. It's unfortunate that you have to do all of this in Windows 11, but it's a thing that you're going to have to do, which you probably never had to do on Windows 10. Diagnostic and feedback during the installation process, you would have an option to give minimal diagnostic data, and you can turn this off and basically delete all of the diagnostic data. You can even view the data that they're collecting, and you can even put this to feedback frequency to never, and they're always going to harvest some form of information from you. But again, you can just set this up to the way you like on your system. But these are to do with your privacy and security on Windows 11. And there's lots more that you're going to have to disable. Your location, if you want geolocation turned off, you can do. And again, pretty much all the other stuff is self-explanatory. I normally turn all of this stuff off, and you can use applications or scripts or whatever you choose to use on your system, but you can manually turn a lot of this stuff. Notifications, there's a lot of stuff like notifying you all the time, advertisement IDs that you're going to have to disable as well, because obviously you're opting in to Microsoft's advertising by having that option enabled. The notifications thing, I turn all of this stuff off. It just really does annoy me when I'm getting notifications for stuff that I don't need notifications for. So you could just turn it off, or you can leave some of the stuff notifying you and turn the rest off, or you can just turn it all off. It's entirely up to you. Additional settings you can see right here, more suggestions, more great tips and suggestions when using Windows. These are the nag screens that pop up and things like that. You can turn all that stuff off as well if you wanted to. So that's how I set mine up. Your focus, again, I turn all of this stuff off. I don't use any of this on my system. This is for people that are in doing productivity and they want to keep focused on what they're doing, and they use, some people might use this. To be honest, I don't know anyone that does use it, but let me know your thoughts in the comments section whether you do use focus at all. I personally don't, and I don't know anyone that does. So normally applications, like I said earlier on, you're probably going to have to go through and uninstall a lot of this stuff. Now, you can either do this manually or you can use applications to do it. It's entirely up to you what you do on your PC, but you just hit the three dots and just go and uninstall all of the stuff. People ask about the clock. If you're not going to use the stopwatch or any of that stuff, you can uninstall all of that. It's not going to remove the clock from the PC. It just removes all of the stuff that you don't need. And I just go through and remove all of the Microsoft stuff here. You can't, unfortunately, remove Microsoft Edge if you're in the United States or some of the other countries outside the EEA. You won't be able to. But if you do watch some of my older videos, you'll be able to work that stuff out. So what you can do is remove Teams and also Microsoft To Do. I don't use any of this stuff. It is on the system by default, and you will need to go in and remove it. News and all the other stuff, you can remove from the PC as well. So choose what you want to remove from here. There will probably be a lot of bloat, as we call it, for people that are not familiar with Windows 11. And again, once you start removing all of this stuff, you'll find your system will run a lot smoother and it won't be so clunky, in my opinion. Taskbar settings, there's a few taskbar settings you can do. This is a brand new computer that I've got here, so I haven't quite activated it yet, but the widgets, I will turn that off, and the task view I turn off, and I normally set the search icon to hide. But again, that's entirely up to you how you set yours up. As for the start menu placement, there's only two options available, center and to the left. You can't have it pinned to the side of the screen on the right or the left or up the top anymore. They've removed that feature, and that's due to the widgets and stuff that they've embedded into their operating system now. So there's your options. You can have dark mode. That's in your themes here. You'll see I can't do that right now because it's not activated yet, and I will be doing that shortly because this is a brand new computer. So there's some of the options available. Now, if you're new to Windows 11, you're probably not going to like this start menu. I particularly don't like it, and I will use Start 11 on the system. Once I finish this video, I will be installing that software. You can use whatever you like if you don't like the start menu from Windows 11. Again, there's some options in here. It's very limited. You can't change the size of it. And believe it or not, it's actually got even bigger with these added extra groups, which I've made videos on, so you can check them out on my channel as well. So you are limited to what you can actually do here inside the start menu, but probably these are what I would do. I would remove that top one as well. For recently added apps, I would normally toggle that off, and it will look something like this. This is about as good as you're going to get it for this particular start menu, but they've just released the new start menu, which is massive on the screen, and I particularly don't like that either. So there is options available out there to change your start menu, so have a little look around on my channel and you should be able to find answers to all of your questions. Next, inside your properties and settings here, this is where you can get access to the About page here, and it will tell you what version of Windows you're running. In the advanced settings, system settings here, this is where you're going to get the system properties. If you're familiar with this on Windows 10 and other versions of Windows, this is where people like to turn off a bunch of stuff. Inside performance, which is this window here, you can change it to whatever you like here. It doesn't really make a massive difference to the system, but some people with older systems might want to set this to performance and remove all of the fancy interface of Windows 11 to keep it basic. There is remote support here as well. You might want to turn that off and uncheck mark that for security reasons, and only turn it on when you actually need it. If you want to disable that, that's how you can do that there. They have buried a lot of these inside Windows 11. You have to click on multiple links to get to where you used to get to in just one or two clicks. System restore points are right here. You can create system restore points and configure this if you wanted to a little low. I normally do about 3%. That's probably about as much as I'll do on system restore here. It is disabled by default, so you might want to enable that feature if you want system restore points added to your PC, and clean them out regularly. Don't leave them on the system for long periods of time. Here in the three dots in options, you can go in here and you can make changes in here to your privacy. Also, I have this set to this PC. I turn these off here, and I clean that area right here for my history. And also inside view here, I normally show hidden files and folders and drives, and I also take the check mark out of hide known extensions. Now, once you get Windows 11 set up, it's not a bad operating system once you turn everything off and you get everything set the way you want it. Unfortunately, you've probably realized by now there is tons of things you have to disable and turn off and uninstall, and that's because of the amount of bloat that Windows 11 has on the system compared to Windows 10. And this is probably why Windows 10 is still so popular and Windows 11 is struggling for people to use, because people just don't want to deal with all of this stuff. There's other issues with Windows 11 like recall, Copilot, and all of the other things as well that we've mentioned in previous videos about Windows 11. Now, Windows 11 is not going anywhere anytime soon, and eventually you will be forced to either upgrade to Windows 11 or Windows 12 when they release it, or you can use another operating system, but that's another argument right there. Some people just simply don't want to use Linux. They want to use Windows, and unfortunately, you're not going to have much more of a choice because Windows 11 is not going anywhere anytime soon, and Windows 12 hasn't even been announced yet by Microsoft. And if and when Windows 12 is released, it's probably going to be pretty much the same as Windows 11. Plenty of AI, plenty of advertisement, plenty of bloat, and it could possibly be a subscription-based service. We just don't know. But I don't think it's going to be as clean and lightweight as what people are hoping. So before we end this video, let's quickly talk about AI and also talk about Copilot and recall. Recall has been a real big major problem, and it's probably one that you're going to want to turn off because it takes screenshots and capture of your activity on Windows and stores it locally encrypted on your PC. Don't believe what everyone tells you that it's sending it all back to Microsoft. That's not happening. But basically, you can turn it off on a Windows-based system. It's not even functional on a Windows-based system. It has to be a Copilot Plus PC. But the options are there for the future, and this could change in the future with future CPUs when they get released, if they ever work a way out to get this enabled. So I would just disable it just to be on the safe side, and you can do that inside the registry, or you can do that inside the group policy editor and stop it as a service that way. So as you can see here, that is the recall. There's a bunch of settings in here that you might want to go through and turn off. If you have got a Copilot Plus PC, you can opt out of it, and I've made a video on that topic as well. You can check my YouTube channel. I've made videos on all of this stuff. They're all there, ready for you to enjoy and also learn how to do things. Now, once you've dealt with recall, you might want to turn off Copilot, and you can uninstall Copilot. Unfortunately, Copilot is embedded into Windows quite heavily. It's in Notepad. It's in Paint, it's in a lot of other places, and you might want to turn it off. And you can do that in Group Policy Editor, and you can also do that in the registry as well. It's entirely up to you whether you want to disable this feature if you don't use it yourself. I don't use Copilot on here. If I want to use an AI type technology, I would either go to Gemini or ChatGPT on the internet and use their online services. It's free to use ChatGPT. You don't have to sign in, and I would normally use that rather than using it on my computer. But if you want to disable it, it's all inside here, and you just have to go in and turn it off. I generally turn it off inside here, and then I go and uninstall it, and I make sure I'm just removing it from every possible place. If you don't want it inside your Notepad, or you don't want it inside Paint, then you need to uninstall those and use the legacy versions. You can do those. I've made videos on how to do that as well. Now, there's quite a few other settings that you're going to need to change on Windows 11, but these are the most important ones, I think, for most people. If you're not familiar with Windows 11 and you've just upgraded from Windows 10 to Windows 11, these are some of the most important ones that I would say that you need to change right away. Anyway, with that said, my name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Just want to say a quick shout out to my YouTube members. I do appreciate the support, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.